All right, Tribal, we are good to go, amigo.
All right, everybody. How's it going? Bourne here. Travis Mewhirter here. We're back on the SANDCAST podcast, doing it from location as always during these COVID times. Today we have a unique guest, someone who has created and co-founded a really unique style of volleyball, a little branch off of our normal volleyball. It's called CROSSNET, and we're here today with Chris Meade. Chris, welcome to the podcast.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate you having me on.
Dude, thanks for coming on.
Yeah.
I've seen CROSSNET like all over Instagram. I've seen. I think did you send one? Do the Vikings have one up in Norway? I feel like I saw them playing it.
Yeah, I mean everyone has one at this point. It's hard to keep.
It's awesome.
Yeah,
It's cool to see. Can you walk us through kind of the story of you guys founding it? And obviously it's up on the website if anybody else wants to take a look, but for the listeners who haven't seen CROSSNET, kind of give us a rundown of kind of how you made it and everything.
So I was working at Uber, like the headquarters, like doing sales. I was helping laundry.
In SF?
No, in New York City actually.
Oh, New York. Okay,
yeah,
got it.
New York at the New York headquarters, and I was just like a sales rep. I was like running the sales team out there in New York and Boston, and it was a grind, just an absolute grind. I was 24. I was making a shit ton of money, right? But I was cold calling every day, an hour in the train, an hour back, 9 hours a day calling people and getting rejected. It was like, I really want to do this forever, you know? And my buddy Mike, who we grew up playing like childhood soccer together, had just graduated from Northeastern, super nerdy, smart dude, engineering degree. And he came over, and my brother was home back in our hometown of Woodstock, like super small farm town. And he's like, dude, I'm not ready to get a full-time job yet. I don't want to be corporate America. I was already dreading it. And he's like, let's invent something. Let's come up with something. And so we were literally up one night. It's one of those nights where we were with your boys, right? And you're up to like 4 a.m, just like taking it. And we just started writing down ideas. And like one idea turned into 100, and they're all pretty much garbage, right? And and Greg turns to Mike, and Mike was about to leave. He had like a 30-minute drive back home. And Greg's like, nah, like stay another hour. Like, let's figure this out. And then Mike like shouts out like 4-way volleyball. And we're like, and none of us had ever played volleyball, right? Like we're not volleyball players whatsoever. I've made that very clear in the past. And we're like, that could be a cool idea, right? And we Google it, and you expect like Wilson or somebody already does it, right? Nothing. Internet's empty. Literally a ghost town. And we're like, shit, we could do this ourselves. So we wake up the next morning, we run to Wal Mart. We buy like 2 like janky like badminton nets. We cut out the middle, rig them up on like the side of my mom's shed in the garden. We text all our friends,
Nice.
yo, we got this invention, come and play. And then we are playing for like 4 hours straight and just making and we're like, this is a blast. And they were 22, I was 24. We were off our phones, we were having a great time, and we're like, dude, if we would do this for 4 hours, imagine people who actually really cared about volleyball. Like how much fun they would have. And we're like, that's it. That's the only proof of concept we ever needed.
Dude, that's awesome.
Wow.
Man, I really want to know what some of these other ideas were. I bet you had some good ones.
Oh, yeah, that's pretty terrible. Like, I remember one was like a wall charger for your phone, but it always played music. Like it was an always on speaker. I think that's the only one we've always like spoke about. What was the other ideas?
Yeah.
It's funny though, now that you have access to manufacturing and connections, like ideas that you thought were like no chance this could ever happen, like you could actually see them on the roadmap now. So
yeah, I know like the process from idea to invention is a long one. And like you said, you set up that like kind of jerry-rigged one against like the garden and the shed and all that stuff. But how did you get it to go from like idea to like pretty cool system that you guys made in your backyard to actually like full on manufacturing? Because I know I was listening to a podcast with Sarah Blakely. She's the inventor of Spanx, that like women's underwear. And her story is crazy, how she had to like go to manufacturers and like start doing stuff herself. And she was selling that out of her bedroom. And I love like listening to the stories like that. I'm sure you guys probably have a pretty fun one.
Absolutely. Yeah, dude. It was nuts. So luckily for us, right? So we're all 3 farm town kids. None of us have a lot of money to our name. Like collectively maybe had like 15 grand, like scrapped up. Like that was our entire life savings across the 3 of us.
Yeah.
And Mike, fortunately, was an engineer. So he had AutoCAD. He had the blueprints on his computer. So we didn't have to go out and beg somebody to go, please draft up a blueprint. Like this dude, that was his one crazy set. So we got really lucky there, right? And then we also used to sell like, I don't know, like we're big fans of like buying knockoff hockey jerseys on like China websites, right? Because we didn't have the money. So we knew
Right.
AliExpress and we knew Alibaba. So we just typed in volleyball net and we found a few that like we thought were reputable, started conversations with them and said, hey dude, we have this great idea. We don't have a lot of money, but are you interested in taking on this project? And so eventually we found like 2 or 3 that were kind of vibing with us, had a good rapport, spoke English well, and also like it's completely different hours, right? So we're up at 3 a.m. having these conversations for a week. So finally we found one. And most of the people are like, when you invent something, they're like, dude, we want $100,000 as a down payment for the first order. We have never seen $100,000 at that point. So we're like, hey, we have 15 grand. Like, we want 100 units. Can you make it or not? We promise we're onto something. We have no stats to back it up, but like, when we bring this to the beach, it pops off, and people have so much fun with it. Like, I promise you. And one lady one factory took a chance on us, and we still use them to this day. So
that's awesome.
They shipped us over a sample. It worked. It was fine. We did about 5 or 6 iterations, ripped it apart, made it better. But every time what we did was we took it to the beach in Rhode Island, where we were from. Like, we're from Connecticut originally, beaches in Rhode Island. And we'd go and we'd set it up. And by the end of the day, we'd have 40 people in line, just like trying to play. And we'd take Facebook ads. We'd run them ads at home, try to sell pre-orders. And eventually it was like, this is a no-brainer. Let's move to Miami. So we moved to Miami to like.
No kidding.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yep.
Kind of sounds like Travis's story.
A little bit.
growing up up there on the East Coast area from the farmlands, and then you moved down to Florida to do some volleyball stuff and like fully get into volleyball world, even though you had never been in it.
Yeah.
Pretty soon you'll be in California.
I know. So what's the timeline of this? Like, when was this like 4 a.m. brainstorming, like blue sky period with the boys? And then how long did it take you to move down to South Beach?
Yeah. So it's June 2017. June 2017, we had the idea. We kind of did iterations throughout the next like 7-8 months to get the product. And then I believe it was like spring of 2018 was when we all like, no, it was actually the summer of 2018, actually. Yeah, summer of 2018. I remember all of us were sitting in the hot tub and our rent was expired. We had either just broken up with our girlfriends or like had quit their jobs. And we're like, dude, let's move to Miami in 2 weeks. So we jumped on a plane, found an apartment, and we all just moved in together in Miami.
That's awesome.
That was the beginning of CrossNet full time. Yeah, so that was full time. We had a whiteboard in our bedroom, and it literally said Mike, Chris, and Greg, how much money we had in our bank account, and when we'd actually go broke, like at our current spending habits. We just have to keep pulling cash in from like Upwork or just like hustling online.
Yeah.
But what happened was we got super resourceful and we got really good at like doing this. Like, I could build a website in 30 minutes. Like, I'm nice at it now, but I wasn't good then. Like, we got really good at e-commerce marketing. Like, every day, 10,000 people come to the site. Like, it's super predictable now. But we've built up this funnel, you know, and CrossNet has just reaped all of its rewards.
Yeah. What kind of marketing did you guys do for it? So you got the website, and I mean, if you're getting 10,000 visitors a day, then obviously you did something right. Was it just like kind of local, like Facebook digital ads, or were you doing like SEO work, doing blog stuff?
Yeah. So it scales over time, of course. Like, it wasn't 10,000 at first, far from, but our biggest thing has never been focused, and I know this isn't anywhere close to an e-commerce podcast, but it was not, we've never been SEO focused. It's more like, let's create banging content and distribute it on Facebook and put dollars behind it. And what we've actually found, and why we started to work with TryRight, is like, him playing volleyball on a CrossNet performs way better than me playing volleyball on a CrossNet. That's just natural. So we've gotten much smarter about that over time, and then also niching things down. So a mom and dad in Nebraska with their 8-year-old might not care to see Try playing. They might rather see an 8-year-old and a family playing in the backyard. But Try's content's really going to resonate with me. So making that kind of smart Facebook decisions is what we kind of learned over time.
Okay. Awesome. And why, how did volleyball like whose idea was it? If none of you played volleyball, like how did the
We
idea?
had ESPN on the background, and
Okay.
maybe volleyball was on, but it was like we always grew up at the beach. We always and what we've actually found is now that CrossNet's almost in 10,000 schools, kids are learning how to play volleyball on a CrossNet, and people who may have written volleyball off are giving it a shot because of CrossNet. And for me, and for all of like our founders, right? Like we didn't play because it was 6-on-6 or 10-on-10, and I touched the ball once in an hour, and I'd be like, "This is a waste of time." But now you're getting switched on every 10 minutes, like not 10 minutes, every 10 seconds. So it's crazy to hear, but people are excited about volleyball that wouldn't be excited because of CrossNet.
Right.
That's super. Yeah.
Totally. It's funny because my mom, I had her and my whole family playing. We had it in the backyard the other day. And she's like, because both my parents are PE teachers. My dad's retired. My mom still teaches all through elementary. And she's like, I should totally take this to my school. She like thought she came up with it. She's like, this would be great in PE classes. I was like, yeah, they got like 10,000 schools already dialed, but absolutely, you're right.
Yeah, it's nuts. And it's crazy to see the reaction of like gym teachers absolutely love it. The kids have seen it on Instagram. It's a win-win for everybody. And it's pretty easy to set up once you set it up a few times. So
yeah,
it's been awesome to see.
It's been really fun. And the thing I was going to say is it's surprisingly difficult. Like my brain really has to like fully change gears to like get into CrossNet mode. It does not feel like volleyball yet, you know. I'm fully like it's a full-on challenge, and I feel like someone who's been playing for a while would totally give me a run for my money, even though I'm a professional, you know what I mean? So it's fun and new in that sense, and really challenging. I gotta be honest, I played only a few times now, and I'm still trying to figure out what the real strategy is, like when to go play the net, where to play, which side, you know, to line up on, or right on the middle.
Absolutely.
And it's fun. It's like a mixture of short court, four square. It's basically short court volleyball and four square.
Yeah.
It's super fun.
Cool. I love it. Yeah, and it all depends on who you play with, right? Like you get four volleyball players, like the game's going to be a lot different than me, you, and other founders are playing against you. Like it's going to be a lot different of a game. So it's cool to see.
You have to be so careful because you're playing short court, but if you're back playing defense and someone sends it over, you're basically just setting someone like a one ball. And like you saw in Sam Pedlow's video, like the girl was just defenseless. She just got blasted in the head. Like you're gonna see people get blown up when you get the pros out there, or the good players playing above the net, and it's hilarious as far as I'm concerned.
You can get people teaming up on each other too. I could see like Trevor and Taylor just like setting each other to.
Yeah, no, totally. If you want one guy out, you can totally set the other guy and just like destroy the other person.
Yeah. That's the strategy. As points kind of start accumulating, like one person starts to get close to 11, like you need to be going after that person. So it gets points go on. Yeah.
Can you walk us through like how the game is played?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's like candidly our biggest challenge is like you have a 4-way volleyball net.
Yeah.
And we have not only is it new to see a 4-way volleyball net, but we have this whole rule system, which is fun. But also, I'm sure you guys can figure out what the hell you want to do on it and still make it a good time.
Right.
So,
right.
If you play CrossNet, and the way we hope it will become like a future sport, which is trending pretty positively, is that it's game to 11, win by 2. You get 1 touch per square. And so the person in the 4th square serves it directly across. And then from there, it's a free-for-all. Okay. You can return the ball anywhere you want. If the ball lands in your square, you're out. And the person who served the ball gets a point.
Okay.
So if you serve and you stay alive, you win.
So you're out. So are you playing with 4 people, or is there like a line? And if you get it's in your square, and then like you got to go back to the line, or do you and the other 3 players just like rotate?
So like in Try's situation, right? Like you had your family over. I think there's a few other people in that video. You guys would all be outside the first square. If somebody gets eliminated, they go to the back of the line, and everybody else rotates clockwise.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So if you serve and you stay alive, you get a point.
Okay. And you're only you can only score in the 4th square?
Yeah, the square that serves the ball.
Okay.
So like traditional 4 square, like you have a king who starts, and that king starts to play.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how CrossNet starts. You start it in the fourth square.
Okay.
Yep.
Got it. This is cool.
There's the whole rule book and education, like that keeps me up at night. Is like, how do I really educate? Because it might take a minute on a Zoom call, and I don't have that with every customer. So like perpetuating that online and also through the rule book is like, it's been a lot of fun.
Yeah. How long did it take you guys to figure out like how to play? Because like I'm sure you were probably just messing around and playing and sort of figuring out a system as you went, like kind of any made up childhood game, you know?
Yeah, I think over the first 6 months, we kind of really established the rules. There were some things like if the ball hits the net and then bounces out, but like it hit the net and then landed out, like who's out?
Right.
There's always like tons of different like Q&As, FAQs, right? The FAQ section, we built that out for 3 years, but the initial rules were kind of concreted overnight. We all grew up playing basketball. Like basketball is our sport. It's always that game to 11, like pick up basketball, game to 11, win by 2. So that's where game to 11, win by 2 came from. And it's been fun. I'm sure we'll still add to the rule book when we find weird stuff happen.
Yeah. That was a crazy thing when I was playing, was that like I'd maybe try to hit it to one guy like directly across, but it would go into the net of the other guy. So it's still good for me, but then they have to like try to play it out of the net.
Yeah, it's weird.
And it was so weird. Actually, what is the rule if I hit it into their net, but then it goes out? Is that out on me?
If the ball goes out, so if it completely lands out of the square, you're out.
Yeah.
But if the ball lands inside the square, it's the person who's like net it went over. So if you're
right. That makes sense.
It goes through their plane.
Even if I hit their net and then it went out, that's out on me.
As long as the ball actually goes out, wherever the ball.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Yeah. Yeah. It's so trippy. And then when it's like right on the top and you like can't tell which square it's gonna fall in. There's like 4 of them. Everyone's standing there like, oh.
It's fun, dude. Yeah. So that's been a good time. And then we just put out the doubles net actually. So for 3 years we kept like, this is fun. However, I would like to sweat a little bit more and I'd like to run around and make it a little bit bigger. So we put out that net. So now it's 2 times as long and you could actually do a team battle. So it's 2-on-2, 8 players. And like, ideally we'll have the best players in the world playing on it. And it's like super fun. 3 touches.
That's wild.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you like, have you guys gotten into volleyball a little bit more because of CrossNet?
Yes and no. I've definitely learned more of the players than I've ever known in my life, which has been awesome.
Right.
Like I'm actually finding myself watching volleyball clips and like watching the AVP videos, which I'm certainly not into.
Right. For sure.
So I definitely see that. I mean, like I have like professionals, like I had Madison McKibben called me this morning. We talked for 30 minutes. Like that would never happen to Chris from 24-year-old Chris. So that's kind of cool. And then I literally go into the Facebook groups and I see people. So I follow like a bunch of volleyball Facebook local communities. Yeah. People are like, oh, would you rather play with Madison or Try? And I'm like, I'm talking to both of them. That's crazy. So like, it's pretty cool. Yeah. It's a pretty cool experience.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have to get a bit more into it.
Yeah.
That's kind of something that a lot of people like about the volleyball world, is that the athletes are really accessible. And we're kind of like, we're not just doing the volleyball part. We're really involved in, I mean, we have to invest in growing the sport, right? Like that terminology gets passed around a lot, but the fact that you can bring new players into our sport, just volleyball in general, like you obviously you're in a different position, but you started playing volleyball. Now you know all the professionals. Now you know what the AVP tour is, where their content is.
Absolutely.
And that's huge for us. So that's why, for me, I was drawn to this, like getting involved. I was like, yeah, I for sure got to be a part of this, especially if you guys are already in schools and Wal Marts and really growing at that level. Because those are the people that can play CrossNet are the people that we believe are our fan base, right? And we want to get them involved as much as possible.
Absolutely. I mean, if they're going to watch a 10-second clip of like Pedlo spiking on somebody, why wouldn't they watch a video of you playing and actually follow you guys? So
hey, maybe we have some professional events going one of these days. We put up some big prize money and we just go at it.
That would be amazing. That's definitely where we see it going. I mean, before COVID, we had an event out in San Diego. We did it. We launched it with like 72 hours notice, and 80 people showed up. One kid
Nice.
drove almost 4 hours to come to the first ever CrossNet. So like,
That sounds like the volleyball players.
yeah, there's definitely some demand here. It's just like, when is it PC enough to do it?
Right.
Right. How about referees? Have you guys thought about that? Like how a ref could come in and
We
maybe
need them. I mean, we see some biases. We play a lot for like Chick-fil-A. Like Chick-fil-A almost like nightly. It's like, let's go out real quick and see who buys dinner. So we need some refs.
Yeah,
Need some
for
refs.
sure. Well, yeah, if we're gonna put some big money on the line, we're gonna need some refs for sure.
Absolutely.
How'd you go about getting it into schools? I mean, because this is still pretty new product. Like, you guys have grown pretty fast.
Yeah, some would say there's like 100,000 out in the world right now.
Phew.
Yeah, it's pretty nuts. So, I mean, the first thing I did, right? Like, so I had my sales job, and my job would literally be the 24-year-old trying to have meetings with the 60-year-old who worked at AIG, or like this Fortune 500 like insurance company. That was before Uber. So I really learned like the power of LinkedIn and like how it could let me talk to people I shouldn't be talking to.
Yeah.
So the first thing I did was I added every single gym teacher I possibly could, like volleyball coach, and I would just spam the hell out of them. But I wouldn't leave them a note. It would just be more like, become my friend. And I did the same thing for retail stores. Like, I'd add the buyer of Dick's, I'd add the buyer of Wal Mart. And for 3 years, like, I just post, and I post good. I think it's good. I post quality content on LinkedIn about CrossNet. Like, last week we gave away 500 CrossNets to underprivileged schools. Like,
Nice.
We all came from like very like not privileged families. So like giving back was something still very important to us. So we had teachers send in clips all week long, and we posted that. It's like 15,000 free views, organic views. So gym teachers would write back like along the way being like, yo, Chris, I'd love this. Like, and I'd be slinging CrossNets on LinkedIn. That's kind of how we started. And it's like, you now have a CrossNet in a school. There's 5,000 kids at that school. 5,000 kids are now engaging with CrossNet, not even by choice, right? They have to take the gym class. Right. And now they go home, have a good time, and they ask their parents to go buy it. And it's just a cycle. So
dude, that's awesome.
Crazy. Yeah.
Totally.
I feel like we're on like an episode of Shark Tank, SANDCAST edition.
Yeah. Volleyball Shark Tank.
Right. It's interesting because you hear from the pros, and like, it doesn't seem like anybody really does anything for the world of volleyball that tries to make a big impact. Besides the local tournaments, like, doesn't seem like new products are coming out. I mean, I know it's simply a volleyball net and a volleyball. What else is there to be done? But like, doesn't seem like any innovations ever happening, which has been great for us.
Yeah. I mean, you found a market that's like kind of hungry for new stuff, as you can obviously see. Way to tap the market.
Exactly.
How did you guys like continue to scale to meet demand? I know that's always a challenge of startups.
Yeah, dude, it's been tough. So I can tell you in the beginning, right? It was sell 100, buy 200, sell 200, buy 500. But eventually you have people like Walmart or Dick's sending us, hey, Chris, we have open stores, and can you fulfill 10,000 units next week? It's like, dude, I barely have $10,000. How am I going to do that? So
right.
Eventually what happened was we just kept scaling and reinvesting, and none of the owners took a draw for almost 18 months. Like, we did not get paid for 18 months. And that was really hard. It was our full-time job for 18 months. We didn't get paid, and we would only survive doing Upwork jobs or like freelancing on the side, which got us really good at a job actually. But eventually what happened was we built up enough capital within the business without having to go to a Shark Tank and give away 20% of our business for money,
right?
Which was beautiful. And eventually we would sell out. We would still collect orders and say, hey guys, buy now, but your order won't be shipped for 4 weeks. And eventually we built up this bandwidth. So now we have a warehouse out in Escondido, California, and there's 120,000 units like just sitting there that are just going to be shipped, like, it's crazy. So building up that infrastructure has been wild. And fortunately for us, like, we kind of got over the hump that most entrepreneurs don't get over. And it just kept coming from driving demand and setting realistic expectations with customers.
Yeah.
Dang.
I bet turning the corner is probably a pretty good feeling, especially after 18 months. I mean, because you were making, even though it doesn't sound like you were thrilled with your job at Uber, you were making good money.
Yeah, I was making over 150 grand at Uber. I was caking. Yeah, I was making a lot of money for a 24-year-old. And
I hope you got some stock.
No,
I'm doing good.
none of my stock was vested, so I've actually had to buy. Yeah, it sucked. But yeah, I was making a lot of money, and it was more like I was waking up and I was unhappy. And like I said, we came from very like farm town roots. Like going to the movies for $15 is my Friday night. Like I don't need to spend any more money than that. So I knew like, it's cool to have all that money, but if you're not happy every day you wake up, like what's the point of it?
Yeah.
Totally.
Oh.
Yep.
You know?
Was it, I know it's tough to make that jump from, even though you weren't like thrilled with it, it's still like good money.
Oh, absolutely.
Like how hard was it for you to make that decision to actually just like go for this CrossNet thing where like you had no timeline of when you'd get paid if CrossNet would ever be profitable at all? So that's like a pretty cool leap you took.
Yeah, it was super tough. So what we kind of did was we built up a reserve of probably about 4 months of rent. So I had my student loans, which were about $1,100 a month, which is ridiculous. Jeez. Yeah, I went to a really expensive school for no reason. I went to film. I graduated with a film degree. So yeah, I went to film school. Never ended up using the degree. I mean, I still like I know Photoshop. I shoot some videos still. A lot of the photos on the CrossNet website are all mine, which is keeps our cost low. But pretty much we built up a reserve of like 4 or 5 months of rent and play money. Not play money. This is our safe money.
Right.
And what we did know, right, was like I had that good job at Uber. I could always go get another job. Like regardless if it was with Uber or another company, I had my college degree. I could hold my own in a conversation with you guys or another boss. Like I'm not going to be out there. And I'm like, this is it's crazy to think about, but we thought back then, this is a once in a lifetime opportunity. Like we're building a brand new sport and a brand new product. And if we don't do it, somebody else is going to do it. And we're going to be really pissed that we didn't try.
Yeah.
So we took a leap and it was not easy. But now it is awesome. And we're really
Heck yeah.
Yeah, dude. So
that's so dope.
So if you got a degree in film and then you were the sales rep at Uber, like where did you guys get, and you mentioned that your buddy is good in CAD, which is a really helpful skill to have, but where did you guys get kind of the business acumen? Did you like read a bunch or did you just kind of like wing it and learn on the fly?
Yeah, so my brother's our third partner, right? He's CEO of the business. He had another business with me in college. He's really good at social media, like the guy responsible for blowing up our stuff and getting eyeballs. That's still like main job is like get traffic to the page.
Right.
But we actually had, you guys know hookah, like hookah lounges?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, so my college roommate is from Jamaica. Shout out to Devontae if you're listening. So Devontae lives from Jamaica. His dad lives on a sugarcane plantation. So one summer he chopped up sugarcane and we packaged it and it was called the King. And I've actually never told this story on any podcast. So it's non-tobacco shisha for hookah lounges. Okay. And none of us smoked. We just thought it was a cool idea because it was like getting into that non-tobacco space, like things were trendy then. And we drove hookah lounges all across the country, and we had our product sold at like Shaquille O'Neal's hookah lounge. But that was our first business. It was like $1 million business. We were just like 19-year-old kids, and it was just a grind. We just had sugar cane in my mom's basement, and we'd pack it up and ship it to hookah lounges across the world.
What?
Yeah, it's wild.
That's insane.
Yeah, the King Shisha. So that was our business for like 2 or 3 years through college. It was pretty cool. I mean, none of us smoked hookah like legit. So it wasn't that passionate. Right. It wasn't that fun, but we learned e-commerce. We learned how to build a demand. We learned how to build a brand, and we took out all the mistakes that we did with that company, and we didn't make them for CrossNet.
Yeah.
That's really cool. Those are a lot of skills that I wish I had or that I'm working on. Travis and I could probably use a little bit more skills in that sense to push the SANDCAST, but I love it. I think it's so cool when you're relying more on your business skills rather than like, and your entrepreneurship rather than like making it all rely on the product itself. Like you guys are like, I don't care what the product is. Let's just make something and then use our other skills to push it. Absolutely. And it's not like you had to be volleyball players or anything. That just like opens you up to so many things that you can do. And for me and like Travis, like volleyball players in general, to be really successful, you have to be very creative and like get your, income or whatever it is from a lot of different places and put it all together so it's one big pot. So I think that's super cool.
Yeah, dude.
I need to learn some of that.
Yeah, dude. It all comes down to being a math equation, right? Like you guys will
Oh,
eventually.
crap, I'm not good at math.
It's like, how much do I make per each view, and how much does it cost to drive a view to your podcast, right? Like if you're monetizing your podcast, it costs X amount to get a listen. How much does it cost to get that listen, and where do I get it from? And then trying every single different channel, and then doubling down on the ones that work. Like for us, YouTube sucks. You'd think YouTube would be amazing for us. I got a bill the other day. We got one sale that cost us $800 on YouTube. That was the worst sale of my life. I lost $650 on the sale. So we don't do YouTube anymore. So getting smart about the channels, you know?
Right. Totally.
Yeah.
Dang.
It's fun.
Well, maybe we trade off
Yeah.
some of that.
Definitely do that.
Perfect.
What are the channels that work really well for you guys? I mean, I know that volleyball seems to be a very Instagram heavy sport, but I don't know if Instagram translates well to business or if it's somewhere else.
No, well, it's definitely Facebook, right? Facebook's the top driver of cold traffic. Well, just traffic overall. There's the most
Facebook, including Instagram?
Yeah, correct.
Yeah, got it.
Including Instagram. But it's also the most expensive. So what you need to really do for us, and I don't know how your guys' infrastructure is set up, but like email is really important. Like we have our podcast with Ryan Millar, and we fortunately have a database of 100,000 people plus that we've gotten over the years. So every time a podcast drops, we send them out the link. And that's a free email, right? Like I don't have to pay for those customers. I've already acquired them. So every time a new podcast drops with Ryan on Monday, 100,000 people get blasted with the link. And that's free. And then every single week, we have more and more customers signing up to the email list because we paid for them on Facebook. So it's, you pay a lot of money up front with Facebook, convert them through SMS or email on the back end, or Bing ads or Google ads or display ads. So it's there's so much crazy stuff you could do.
Yeah, I remember hearing, you were telling me about the podcast. I'm going to come on it eventually.
Yeah.
But I haven't heard Ryan Millar's name in a while. How did he get involved, or how did you guys get involved with him?
So I did a podcast with him actually. And we just had like a good rapport. We had like an hour. I went on his podcast.
Okay, got it.
And then he had reached out, and I was like, hey, this was the first volleyball player I'd ever interacted with, really. And especially like a gold medalist.
Yeah,
I was like, dude, like this guy's talking to me? Like, this is crazy. So me and Ryan just shot a bunch of texts, bunch of calls back. And I was like, he had his podcast. I was always thinking about how important podcasting is. Like, you guys obviously keep doing it for a damn good reason. And I'm like, if we could own that ownership of listeners, we're trying to really build an audience in the volleyball space, right? We're great at selling to moms and dads. We're not the best at really legitimizing the sport. How can we own that? Let's have a volleyball player who's a gold medalist reach out to all these famous people and get them on podcasts. So that's kind of how it started. I think we're in like month 5 or 6 with Ryan now. It's been going really well.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Just like kind of delving into like each little area of the volleyball community.
Yeah. It's just like, it's just really being honest with yourself. Like, what are you bad at and how do we solve it? And like, I'm not a volleyball player. I'll never pretend to be, and I'll never be one. So like, let's have Ryan do it. And that was just a lot of business sense.
Yeah. All right, Travis, we got to step it up.
I know.
I mean, there's tons of stuff you could do. I mean, like one thing we've been wanting to do is doing in-person video, like interviews. Obviously that requires a lot of work, and it's also really hard with COVID, but like that would be the next logical step for you guys. Like imagine if we're doing this right now, and with your background right now, you guys had the high quality video, like, and you guys could go monetize that. You guys could run Facebook ads on it, and that's how you build more on Facebook. But that would require us to go fly out there, have a camera crew, edit. Like it's a lot of money.
Right.
Yeah,
typically we have our studio in Tri's house, but COVID's been limited to the Zooms.
Yeah, we had a real nice studio going. Once I get another house, I'm homeless right now, but we'll build up another studio.
Nice.
And honestly, we have enough friends that are great with video and photos. So there's no excuse. We just got to get on it.
Exactly. Yeah, it's finding the time.
Yeah. So what's the next step for you guys? So you made a new product. You got the doubles CROSSNET. which I'm sure is probably going to be enough to keep you busy for a while. But you guys seem like you're constantly thinking of how we can improve and get better. So what's kind of the future looking like for you guys?
Yeah, so we got doubles right now. We have the indoor one that we dropped earlier this year. So we haven't even got the cold weather this year. So we have the indoor model. We have the doubles. We have the pool version. So next summer we'll have CrossNet.
Oh,
Nice, dude.
So-
That is huge.
So
Wow.
much fun.
Wait,
It's so
how
much
do you do the anchors for indoor and for pool?
So indoor, it's just like a traditional basketball base, but it was like we created a mold for it, so it's safe.
Oh,
And,
got it.
Yeah, so it's really nice, nice indoor base. And then for the H2O, so it's CrossNet H2O, it's called, and there's 4 floating anchors. They're literally straps, and yeah, you just fill it up with a little bit of weight, and it sinks to the bottom of the pool. And yeah, it's dope. So a lot of fun, like spiking in the pool, cross net style. Like it's awesome. I mean, I always loved having a basketball hoop like in the pool growing up.
Yeah.
And like this is so much easier, right? Like you don't have to be diving or doing anything crazy in the pool. It's just playing taps in the pool and having a lot of fun. So
is there boundaries in the pool, or it's more just like
we're exploring. So we have the boundaries. They're on my girlfriend's teaching Pilates in the living room. She's got this
COVID times.
Yeah, exactly. So we explored with boundaries, but it puts the product cost up a lot. And it's like, who really cares about the boundaries? It's more like just fun to have in the pool. Nobody's like really getting that competitive. Like, and it's kind of the fun. Like in the pool, you make up your own boundaries. You always have since you're a little kid. Like, was it out? Was it not out? Like, why am I going to pay an extra $10 as a manufacturer to buy some boundaries?
Well, plus the lines are going to be floating and moving anyway.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, so that's going to be cool.
Sound fun though.
But besides that, right? We just started with Wal Mart this week. A couple hundred stores, which is
congrats.
Cool.
That's huge.
Thanks. We got that. We got Dillard's next year. And then global expansion. We opened up a warehouse in Canada. So CrossNet Canada is really big for us. And then CrossNet Australia and CrossNet United Kingdom.
Wow.
So setting up local warehouses there, which means having fulfillment people, having salespeople, having marketing people. And the whole goal of the business, is to always have 12 months of sunshine. Because right now selling a beach product in September and October is a little tough. So I'd rather just be smart about it and just run ads specifically in summertime. So America during the summer, Australia during the winter, and just keep flipping them.
And then you got the indoor product too. So that's
exactly. Yep.
Pivot as well.
Yeah. So it's going to be a lot of fun. Got our team, we just hired almost 10 people in the last 3 months, full-time people.
Wow.
So, yeah, we got a nice little army, which takes a lot of stress off of the founders who are usually working 90 hours a week. So it's nice to know that people are doing good work.
That's what I was going to say. What's the day-to-day like for you? Because, I mean, I'm sure it has varied wildly since you began scaling and expanding.
Yeah, it's wild. I mean, today was a lot of getting our systems down. So like I said, we just started with Wal Mart. So 5,000 units need to get to Wal Mart. And that doesn't happen just overnight. There's labeling, there's processes, there's systems that you need to learn. You ask them a question, they're like, oh, did you read the 292-page guide? No, I didn't read the 290-page guide. So it's really fine tuning everything. So that's been on my plate. And then we just hired a few new employees who are just really getting them up to speed. And Black Friday comes in 2 weeks, right? So making sure our website's just really on point to handle all the traffic and convert everybody.
Yeah. What platform do you use for your website?
Shopify.
Okay.
Yep. So Shopify, we just upgraded Shopify Plus. Nice little plug there. But yeah, it's good. It's a lot of fun. I mean, we literally have been working for 4 months to hammer down our Black Friday strategy, which will be hopefully 20% of our revenue this year. So it's really these 3 weeks are super important for us.
Yeah. That's awesome. So where can our listeners find you guys?
Yeah, if you want to support a local business, go to crossnetgame.com. Yeah, you can buy it. You'll see Travi putting it out on his Instagram and all that. But crossnetgame.com ships directly from us, or you can just go to Walmart, Dick's, Academy, Shields, pretty much any sporting goods store in the world.
Awesome. I mean, unintentional good timing to have you on the show right before the holiday season.
I guess so, right? Perfect.
Yeah, right. Or was it intentional?
Maybe.
Yeah.
I like
Let's
it.
be honest here.
That's
Love
awesome, man. Well, it sounds like you've got a pretty cool thing going on, a little bit better than working at Uber. You can tell how passionate you are about it. You seem to be
Yeah.
having a lot of fun and
It's
probably
awesome, dude.
pretty well financially at this point too, even after 18 months of no payment.
Yeah, it's not bad. I
Yeah,
mean,
but
I'm literally working with my best friends, like childhood best friends, so it doesn't get much better.
Yeah.
do they feed you as good as they do at Uber? I went to Uber San Francisco and the lunch was amazing.
Yeah, the lunch is good. I do use Uber Eats too much. I actually deleted it last week. I had a week off of Uber Eats because I'd download it, like I'd buy something every night.
Yeah, love
Yeah.
it.
Awesome, Chris. Well, do you
All
have
right, boys.
anything else that we missed that you want to add? Anything that we didn't cover?
That covered it, man. That was good. I appreciate it. Like I said, like, it's just been crazy to see the reaction to the game, to the sport. There's so much more that we have to do.
Yep.
And we're just really thankful of the reception. Like, we're literally just 3 farm town kids with a good idea. And it's just been nuts to have people write to us all day long being like, I love your product. It's great. Like, it's awesome. So let's keep it up, and hopefully we'll make more improvements and keep growing this bad boy up.
Yeah, awesome, man. Well, I'm
Yeah.
excited to play. It'll be fun.
Yep.
Absolutely. All right, boys. Thanks so much.
All right, shoots, boys.
Okay, Chris.
Later.
Shoots. Later.